3, 1, 2, 3. And hello fellows, Herogon here. Today is Tuesday, November 14th of 2023. It's now 2:37 p.m. Actually 2:38 p.m. Eastern Time. The clock minute just turned. And so far things have been going pretty okay. Now, I know that in a few weeks' time, all of us will be definitely eating a whole lot of Thanksgiving food. Whether you're someone that has eaten turkey last year, or sometimes instead of going with turkey, you might end up having ribs instead. That's what I recall my family doing one year. Anyways, let's get into the fighting game frameworks improvements. Credit goes to Sean the Bro for his tutorials, and congratulations on his 8,000 subscribers. That is how many he has reached right now. Looking forward to the 10,000 subscriber mark. It probably won't be too long as people like me out there are trying to promote his work in whatever way they can. Now let's get to this week's tutorial from him. This week's tutorial involves implementing a new combo state called Crumple. Now of course, this time around I did not want to leave people hanging, as I have not really experienced too much of the Crumple before. So, what is a guy to do? Simple. The Fighting Game Glossary by Infill. So thank you, Infill, if you happen to be watching this right now. Now, according to the glossary, a crumple is a state of super prolonged hit stun that sees the character reel over painfully, usually falling to the ground at the end. It's mostly used to describe what happens when you hit with Street Fighter 4's Focus Attack or Street Fighter 6's Drive Impact, although you might hear the word used in other games too. A more common thing is the stagger, which is pretty similar conceptually. And a stagger is any move that causes a super prolonged state of hit stun, usually with the opponent staggering over their feet while you get free reign to do whatever you want. It's a common word in Killer Instinct, as there's a specific state called stagger that allows for opponents to be hit or thrown freely, but it can be used in any game where giant hits occur. Stagger can also be used in its more common English meaning to describe attacks that are slightly delayed or offbeat from each other. Basically, you leave gaps between your attacks in tricky and unpredictable ways, so your opponent thinks they're free to attack, then you smoke them with a devastating counter hit. You might hear something like, "He staggered that heavy punch," or "nice stagger pressure" to indicate this. And of course, that's where I will leave things for the definition. Now to go into the coding part. I've added a new state called Crumple here in the enum class e-combo state, which is easy enough. And then going all the way down to receive damage, I have a new boolean put into the parentheses called should cause crumple, which is false by default, and that is in receive damage. I also put in to the hitbox actor header file another boolean to the hitbox data table called should cause crumple, which indicates should the hitbox be able to crumple the opponent. Now going into the character.cpp, there's a few spots where we have the crumple stuff. In receive damage, we've got all of our parentheses of many values. Our bool should cause crumple. And then going downward, if we should cause daze, then our combo state will equal dazed. Otherwise, if should cause crumple, then our combo state is put into crumple. Otherwise, we just do the typical combo state stuff. If our num stun frames is greater than 0, we switch on our hitbox height, and after that we begin the stun. Then in end stun, we've got 2 new spots here, where if our combo state does not equal launched, and knockdown, and recovery, and ground bounce, right now we also want to have and combo state does not equal E combo state E dazed, and the same goes for crumple, and that is pretty much all there is for crumple stuff. Everything's okay for that part. Now going into the blueprint stuff. There's a few spots here and there we definitely want to make sure has our things. In the hitbox actor BP, we break our hitbox data and we have all of our values here. Now there's a new thing called should cause crumple in hitbox data. We connect that node into the receive damage and do the same wherever there is receive damage, such as here and here for the projectile collision check. Both of these are for the projectile collision, and then of course the one above is the typical collision stuff. Then going into the animation blueprint part, there's plenty of things. Going from idle to crumple has our transition rule requiring us to be in the combo state of crumple. And of course we also have a start transition rule. Let's see. Hold on. There we go. Our start transition event is resize to crumple hurtbox, which essentially resizes our hurtbox over to crumple. A type of a hurtbox where it makes sense for the crumple to be like that. And then going into the state itself, nothing there, just an animation, which has a play rate basis of 0.4 to make things go a little faster, because as you can see, things get a bit dang slow for this poor little fellow. So I have to use a different play rate basis. Now going in from crumple, we go into crumple fall in the event that you want to have that. It has automatic rule base, so once the crumple thing is done, it'll go to crumple fall. Another animation there, which again is a little slow, but of course I kept it at a play rate basis of 0.6, which is different. Then we go into the knocked down recovery front, and we have it being automatic rule based going to there, and 2 transition events, a start transition and an end transition. We resize to knocked down hurtbox first, which is the same thing which is similar to resize to crumple hurtbox, but has a few different values like width, height, and if you want, offset. Then our end crumple event, which is our end transition event, as mentioned before here. In the event graph, we just have it saying our combo state back to no combo state. And we get our character reference 2, which is always important. And of course, the gang up anim here, nothing much, just a duplicate of sorts, since I've reused a few as placeholders. I'm not sure if I plan on making a fighting game anytime soon, but we'll have to wait and see. After all, who knows what the future holds. And going back, once you're done with knocked down recovery front, you then have it automatic rule based, and the end transition event is end get up logic. Simple enough, right? And of course, end get up logic does a few things for us. There we go. It sets our combo state back to no combo state and resizes us to default hurtbox, which of course resizes our hurtbox stuff right to a default size. And if you'll give me a moment to search through here, there we go. It resets our hurtbox and uncrouches our character due to it being weird about resetting the hurtbox when we don't use uncrouch. And as you can see, reset hurtbox has for each loop with break, then set world scale 3D, loop body. Our array is a simple hurtbox array. We set our world scale 3D, target being the array element, which is simple hurtbox array. Our new scale being the scale of the default hurtbox details, which we get the array from the hurtbox defaults. And then set our relative location, target array element again. And our new location is the default hurtbox details offset. And that is all for the blueprint part of things. Now let's get into the game itself and see what it's all about. Of course, things can tend to be a bit slow with regards to my old computer. It's an iMac 2017, so I do apologize. Oh, and I almost forgot. Before we start the game, I'm sorry for an almost false alarm. Let's go into the data tables. In moves, I have something called should cause crumple added into there. It's false by default. And this is for our hitbox data. In the light punch strike hitbox, I now have it to set should cause crumple to true. Going back into there. Sorry for any of the false alarms. Oftentimes I do this unscripted. Actually, it's been that way the whole time. I'm sorry. I've kind of found it a bit easy to just jump right in, you know? Now, as you can see here, when I light punch them, they go into the crumple state. And then go back downward. And there you have it. A crumple state that's for the most part working. Of course, as you know, a game dev's job is probably never done. So thank you again for sticking it out to the end with me. Credit shall go to Infill for his fighting game glossary, as that is very helpful indeed for those fighting game guys that want to know about certain mechanics, whether it's from games like Smash Bros, Street Fighter, Tekken, Guilty Gear, BlazBlue, Mortal Kombat, Melty Blood, Marvel vs. Capcom, Killer Instinct, Virtua Fighter, Soul Calibur, Under Nine Birth, Dragon Ball Fighter Z, King of Fighters, Samurai Showdown, or Injustice. And credit goes to Sean the Bro for all of his Unreal Engine programming tutorials. I do hope that those budding Unreal Engine programmers out there can make good use of this, as my own videos are very, very bare bones. If you want a full understanding from someone that's been around for quite a while, I'd suggest going to Sean the Bro for any sort of stuff. Whether it's fighting games, action RPGs, your own Smash Bros game, or even first-person shooters, Sean the Bro can pretty much handle a lot of the weight of it. He's done pretty well for himself. I'm grateful to have been there for much of the journey since 2021. And with all of that said, I've been Herogon, you've been you. Thank you for tuning in, and for right now, I will see you all real soon. Goodbye everyone, and have a hero-tastic day.